Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to spend about 20 minutes going over compound complex. This is going to be the guts of your next test. You're probably going to have a quiz next week, and I'm going to put off the test until the week after, until after you do your paper. But I want to do, grammar is hard. I want to do a little bit at each kind of spread out. So hang with me on this. What I want to do is I want to go over sentence structures, and I'm just going to read the sentence structure to begin with. I'm going to read what they are, and then I want to see if anybody got them all right. And then we're going to go through sentence by sentence and talk about commas and clauses. So number 1 is complex, and you should be writing it in if you got it wrong. Number 2 is compound. Number 3 is complex. Number 4 is complex. Number 5 is simple. Number 6 is compound complex. Number 7 is complex. Number 8 is compound complex. Number 9 is compound complex. Number 10 is complex. 11 is complex. And 12 is compound.
Wait, what is
Okay, did anybody get this right?
Wait, what is
I got one wrong.
What
I got
is
one wrong.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. What? Number 2 is compound.
What's number 9?
Give me number 5.
Compound complex.
What's 4?
Complex.
Number 8.
What's number 2?
Number 8 is
What about the clause?
Okay, we're gonna go over it. So you guys, I'm going back over it now, and I want to call on you to tell me what conjunctions you circle and where your commas are. So Logan, I'm going to start with you on number 1. What's the conjunction that you circled?
when?
Okay, when. Good. And there are 2 independent clauses. What punctuation did you add, Eliza Min? I mean, where did you put your comma?
Wait, on the second one?
Number 1.
Oh, sorry. After school and for.
After school. Because a dependent clause at the beginning of the sentence is followed by a comma. Okay, Belle, what conjunctions did you circle in number 2?
So, and.
So, and. Sarah Rhodes, where did you put commas?
I put a comma after me and after party.
Party. Because you always put a comma before fanboy that joins clauses. Now, there are 3 independent clauses, and you have learned that a compound sentence is 2 independent clauses, but the expanded definition of that is a compound sentence is at least 2 independent clauses. It could be more, it could be 3, it could be 4. It gets a little awkward, cumbersome, but this is a compound sentence, okay? Questions about that? If you have a question about what I'm going over, just raise your hand. Number 3, Olivia, what did you circle as your conjunction? Unless, so it's a subordinating conjunction. There's an independent clause, a dependent clause. Jacob, did you put a comma anywhere?
No.
No, because the dependent clause is at the end. No comma. Okay, Charlie, what did you circle on number 4 as your conjunction? Before. So we have a dependent clause and an independent clause. Anna Grace, did you put a comma anywhere?
Yes, ma'am, after, began.
Began. And why did you put it there?
Because it's separating the dependent clause and the independent clause because the dependent clause comes first.
Yes, very good. So that's a complex sentence. Okay, number 5. I'm just going to tell you with number 5, you should not have circled any conjunction because the conjunction and is connecting phrases. You're only circling it if it's connecting clauses. How do you know? Because after and is the word ate, and there is not a separate subject. That and is connecting 2 verb phrases. Bought donuts, ate them in the park. And that goes with the same subject, Keith and Kyle. Okay? So don't be fooled by that. Caroline, what did you circle as conjunctions in number 6? So and because. And Jonathan, where did you put did you add any commas?
After
What?
After homework.
So it's easy to want to put a comma around because, but that is at the end of the sentence. So you're not going to put a comma before because, but there is a need for a comma. Did somebody put another comma in, Jacob?
After job.
After job, because it comes in front of a fanboys that's connecting 2 independent clauses. Okay, number 7. Who have I not called? Belle, what did you circle?
You call.
But I'll call you again.
Whenever.
Okay, whenever. And Kate, did you add a comma?
Yeah, after center.
After center, because the dependent clause is at the beginning, so you have a complex sentence. Okay, Josh, what conjunctions did you circle for 8? That and but. This is a problematic sentence. So when I'm teaching you grammar, I'm trying to give you generalizations. It's always hard in English because there's exceptions. I'm trying to keep us out of the ditch of exception. And I'm just going to tell you that I didn't realize that that can be a subordinating conjunction and a relative pronoun.
So what is
But it is acting as a subordinating conjunction because there's a subject verb direct object after it. Okay? Okay, where did you put commas with this one?
After answer this question, probably in the bathroom.
You may.
So what number one?
8, where did you add a comma?
I did not.
Okay.
Oh,
there
no,
should-
Is it between but and you?
Yes. So before the coordinating conjunction. Okay, questions about that? Number 9, really, am I missing somebody? Have I called on everybody?
You haven't called on me.
Christian, I haven't called on you?
You haven't called me either. Will you call, I done one.
Okay. So, Christian, what did you circle as your conjunction in 9? As and. Okay, this is where I said something wrong yesterday. I might have only said it to Maddie. But I said that when you have a dependent clause in the middle, you separate it with commas. That's only if it's a who-which clause that's non-essential. So does anybody know the correct guideline if you have a dependent clause in the middle? Ben?
Maybe just after play? Or?
After play. So basically, you want to treat it, if it's in the middle, you want to treat it as if it's a dependent clause at the end. It comes after the independent clause, so no commas. And the comma that you put after it isn't so much about the dependent clause as the independent clause and the coordinating conjunction. Okay? And that is essential information. That's part of why there's no comma setting it up. So the comma comes after played. It comes in front of the coordinating conjunction. Okay? So you've got an independent clause, dependent clause, independent clause. That is a compound complex. Maddie, what did you circle as your conjunction in 10? If. And Ben, did you add a comma?
Did I add a comma?
Huh?
Did I add a comma?
Yes, did you
Okay.
add?
To number 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's after COVID.
Okay, after COVID, because that's the dependent clause. Okay, 11, Campbell. What conjunctions did you circle?
I circled although and while.
Although and while. This one is so tricky. We've got 2 dependent clauses at the beginning, ending with an independent clause. Where did you put your comma, Maddie?
I put a comma after popcorn and after game.
Okay. There should just be one after game. Mainly because those 2 things, actually I don't really know why, but although we ate a huge tub of popcorn while we watched like all of that is information that goes together, okay? So you're gonna treat, if you have consecutive dependent clauses at the beginning of the sentence, your comma comes at the end of that series, we'll call it, okay? Okay, and then 12, what did you circle, Charlie?
I circled yet.
And, Caroline, where did you put the comma?
I put before yet.
Before yet, okay. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Very good. Let's look at the way that you diagram. So is this number 4? Did I have, oh, here's number 4. Okay. So number 4 has the dependent clause at the beginning of the sentence, but because it's dependent, it always comes underneath. So the subject, verb, direct object of your independent clause, people enjoyed movies. Okay, and then the dependent clause comes underneath, pandemic began. You connect, when you have subordinating conjunctions, you connect verb to verb conjunction on the line. Maddie,
Why didn't we do number 2?
Yeah.
why did I not do number 2? Because it was a compound and I thought that was easy.
Okay.
But you know what, I will say on number 2, let's just do a little template. If you have more than 2 independent clauses, you're just going across. They all have to be on the same plane. Okay, so that was the only thing tricky about that. Okay, and great. Any questions? Ben?
Prepositional phrase, wouldn't it be, it's adjective, right? Or is it, I thought it was where.
Okay, could you say which movies?
Which?
You could say which movies, or you could say where. So remember, if it answers both, then you are going to go with the adjectival. So
Okay.
this is correct. Okay? Okay, number 6, right here. So this is great. We've got 2 independent clauses. I left what job? So I could finish homework. And then we've got the dependent clause. I have a test, and I love this person knew that tomorrow, that's an adverb, you didn't need to do that for this. Here's my question. How do you know whether to connect it to could finish or to left? This is tricky and a little bit subjective. Maddie?
Because it goes with like the verb that comes right before, or that comes before it.
Both of them?
I really wish it did, and often it does, but there's a bigger rule than that. Ooh,
Because it's not talking about the job, it's talking about homework.
does it make sense to say which
one?
is more basically you look for the verb it's more related to. Sometimes, a lot of times it's the one closest. Does it make more sense to say I could finish my homework because I have a test tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or does it make sense to say I left my job because I have a test tomorrow?
I mean, first one sounds worse.
Yeah.
No,
Really?
first one sounds more better.
How many would put it off of this verb? How
I
many
put
think
it on
that sounds
that
better?
one.
I
Usually
could finish
put it
homework
on
because
test.
I have test. Okay, put your hands down. How many people think I left my job because I have a test? Okay, let me go with this.
Yeah, I
think it
goes under.
Okay.
Well,
So,
I think-
but that is your
I
rule of thumb,
should.
and let me tell you, if it is that close, again, you guys are doing fabulous with grammar, you're not gonna lose points over that, but you wanna ask yourself, which verb is it more closely related to?
Wait,
And that is subjective.
Wait,
Lucy,
which one is
I
it?
don't understand how you think it's the first one, because the second one has to do with homework, and the test has to do with school, they both have to do with school, and having the test and leaving the job has nothing to do with each
So you
other.
have time to study.
except the reason I left my job is because I have a test.
Well, the reason they had to finish their homework.
I
is
can
because they had
omit
tests
that,
tomorrow.
okay? But the reason I'm leaving my job is because I have a test. Without that information, still that logic holds.
Well,
Okay.
that's the other information and logic still holds.
Okay, so Lucy, you make a good point. This is subjective, and so I'm saying there's not strong evidence for one or the other. You could go off of either.
If
Okay.
it's like I should
This-
finish homework, then it would make more sense, because I could.
I could finish my homework because I have a test tomorrow. Why are you finishing your homework? Because I have a test tomorrow. But why are you leaving your job? Because I have a test tomorrow. Okay? So it's 6 the other way. So either way, I just want you to think, because in a lot of sentences, it's gonna be very clear that the dependent clause is more closely related to one of the main verbs. Okay? Okay, and then 8, is this 8?
No, that one's eight.
Okay, oh my goodness, this one I would not give you, so, but it's here. So mom advised, I like this because I want you to see how short an independent clause can be, a subject and a verb. That's it. Mom advised, and when I'm doing compound complex, I like to do my compound sentences, my independent clauses first. But, okay, I can stay. Now this is interesting, I learned that when you're diagramming a contraction, you turn it back to cannot and do cannot, but evidently IEW, what you guys learned was this, so this is fine, we'll go with that. Okay, overnight on campus. So, what did she advise? That you're connecting verb to verb, that I tour what? The college. Okay, questions about that one? Josh?
I put the, I can stay overnight on the same line as the fourth. Is that wrong?
Yes, because what question does overnight answer? Overnight, does anybody know? Ben?
Oh, no, I don't
Oh,
know.
I got it.
What?
Is it
On my
when?
class, I don't stay overnight. I got it.
Is
Yeah.
it when?
Yeah. I
I'm
can
silly, yeah.
stay when, overnight, yes. It's a little bit awkward, but it's not a noun. That's why it's not gonna go on the same line. It's an adverb. Ben?
They forgot with you.
But we don't know, I don't know how to diagram that.
I don't know how to do that either.
On 8,
Yeah, I don't know how to
I
diagram
can't tour the college with you.
It's just
So-
that-
No, it's cause it's a verb.
You
or
didn't need to
adverb.
do that, it's adverbial, it's under what condition, okay? So, but we haven't gotten to that yet, but if you were diagramming it, I'd put it under tour, okay? Okay, did we have one more?
We have 2 more.
There was
We have
that.
2 more, you didn't.
Okay, do you guys need me to diagram the last 2?
No.
Okay,
Hey, the
think
last
you
one's
can-
right there. One of the last ones is right there.
Oh, here's this, yeah. Okay, so this is the same thing, your dependent clause is underneath, you connected the verbs. Are you comfortable with this? If you have a quiz on this next week, I would say just make sure you remember the conjunctions for the coordinating, the correlative, and the subordinate, okay? Okay, everybody has their storyboard up, right?
Yes.
So, I graded these last night, and they were interesting. There's a lot of creativity. There's also just a tad bit of confusion. So, some people, for their conflict, wrote a situation. Like, Melanie has a crush on Ivan. I'm making this up.
Come on.
Well, that's a situation. What's the problem?
Ivan's just-
Melanie has a crush on Ivan and Ivan doesn't like her. Now we've got a conflict. Make sure that your conflict actually poses a problem, that it doesn't describe just a situation. The other thing is some people have a storyline that I would call like a flatline story. Tell me what's wrong with this. This is a flatline story. Melanie likes Ivan. They go to the same college. They have a humanities class together. They go to lunch, then they go to the movies, they take spring break with their friends, they get married, they have kids, they live happily ever after. What is wrong with that, Tim?
Nothing goes wrong.
Nothing goes wrong, it's boring, it is a flatline story. Okay, and it's not one that would pull you in. So make sure you need to have obstacles, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, the mountain of conflict. You wanna have a mountain. You do not wanna have a plateau, okay? The other problem is some people, for the climax, wrote your ending. You wrote they got married and lived happily ever after, and the climax is the worst part. That's when things don't look good. So if we go back to Ivan and Melanie, maybe I build suspense by saying, Melanie likes Ivan. Ivan likes Melanie's roommate. Ivan asks Melanie's roommate out on a date. They start dating. Melanie stays home every Friday night and eats popcorn and cries. But then, Melanie's roommate ditches Ivan. And Ivan is so heartbroken, and Melanie's the only one that understands, and so he just processes his broken heart with Melanie, and then they end up falling in love. Okay? So what would be the worst part of that story would be when Ivan and Melanie's roommate are getting really serious. That's the worst part. It doesn't look like Melanie's gonna get anything. Okay?
Or when Ivan's alone.
That's fine.
Or when Ivan's on. It depends who I want to make as my main protagonist. Okay? So, today what we're going to do is we're going to take the part of your storyboard that's in the lower right-hand corner, that plot, and we are going to blow that up and do a mountain of conflict, which is nothing particularly unique to me.
Whoa.
Seen this? Okay, so everybody's going, in fact,
Do you want
well,
me to
I'm
pass
gonna
this?
give you a template like this in a minute. Bill, could you cut the lights?
Do you want me to pass the knife?
In just a minute. So I just want you to see this as an example, and then you're gonna take time to write it in class. So if you did your conflict correctly on your storyboard, you're just gonna copy it down here. But you do need to write in your conflict. That's what I did. I wrote, Aphrodite wants to imprison Athena in Hades because she's Zeus's favorite. She has and then I was like, well, how is she gonna do that? So I gave it a little bit more thought. So I actually added to my conflict. She has a potion that will send Athena to Hades once she drinks it. Josh?
Sauber, can you leave at 2:45?
Okay, thank you so much for that. So here's what I'm gonna do, because I know a number of you, thank you for texting me last night, a number of you have to leave. I'm gonna post on the homework page this template, and your homework for tonight is to complete the mountain of conflict for your, thank you,
What is
for your
ATH
story.
mean?
Okay, I'm gonna talk about that in just a second, okay?
Aphrodite.
Okay, so you guys, this is an outline, so I want you to make abbreviations. It's kind of like your keyword outline for a creative story. So after the first line, I was like, I don't want to write Athena and Aphrodite out every single time. So I abbreviated. ATH is Athena, APH is Aphrodite. So these are events in your story that build suspense. Again, you're not just telling a nice story that bores us. You are building suspense. Logan, can you, okay, head up. Okay,
Wait,
so,
she hides in the future?
How do you know if it's a good conflict or not?
okay, hold on. Hold on, let me get through this before you ask your questions, okay? Let me just get through it. So, these are all events. This isn't the only thing, but this is the basic progression. Athena learns that Aphrodite is trying to banish her to Hades. Do I know how yet? Is it going to be because her younger brother tells her, because she finds a note? I don't know. I'm just saying the high points. Then, Athena hides in the future as a high school student at Caldwell. How's she gonna get there? Is she gonna time travel? Is there gonna be a portal? I haven't figured that out, but she's gonna go.
That's so
Okay.
cool.
Then Athena's favorite class is Latin. Surprise, surprise, she makes friends with classmates. And she's really good at Latin. She tells the best stories about Greek mythology because she was in half of them. And there's these two girls, Carly and Stacy, and they become friends and she helps them improve their Latin grade and they end up liking Latin. Isn't that nice? Okay, then Aphrodite learns that Athena, where her location is, she disguises herself and enrolls as a student at Caldwell. Aphrodite persuades Carly and Stacy to give Athena her favorite drink, kind of as a thank you for helping them on their grades. And she has put this Hades potion in it, that if she drinks it, she is vaporized and goes to Hades permanently. Okay, then I get to the climax. And you're gonna have this happen, where you write to a certain point and you're like, I don't know where to go. I wrote to a cliff. I don't have any resolution. So I got here. I could imagine Athena's in the lunchroom, her friends are with her, she's about to drink this drink and it has poison in it. And all of a sudden I was like, how do I wanna resolve that? Do I want Carly and Stacy to come in and be the heroes? And all of a sudden they get some information that Aphrodite isn't who she says she is? Or do I want Athena to see the new girl and offer her drink to Aphrodite and she drinks it and goes to Hades?
That's a better idea.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, or maybe she just spills it. Okay, so you want to, at that point, this is where I think writing, you guys will like this, it's very interactive. It's great to spitball ideas with friends. Go, which way, just like you guys did right there, like, oh yeah, give it to Aphrodite and send her
But
to
then
Hades.
Aphrodite would know that it was her because, you know.
Well, I would have to write it in such a way that she didn't know that the poison was in that drink. Thank you, guys. Okay? So, and then, so right here, guys, resolution. I didn't write the resolution in,
Because you don't know yet.
but I would write it in. Like, Athena gives it to Aphrodite. She doesn't realize the potion. So she drinks it. She's gone. Okay? So now do you have questions? Caroline? Yes. Maddie?
My question is, if you said like if our climax is okay, if we got it, would we have gotten counted off if our climax wasn't right? Like if it wasn't correct?
Yeah, so many of you did the climax wrong, so you want to correct that for this sheet.
Well, then how do we know
Why do
it's
you
right?
get it wrong with
Because I told you.
So he
Like I
doesn't-
even, if I checked it off, if you missed the mark, then I made comments on that,
Oh,
okay? Christian,
How many conflict points do we have to have?
you need to have a minimum of 5,
Alright.
okay? So you need to have at least 5 points going up this, okay?
Can you go back down to like the
good job. Read my thing, say that.
Okay? Okay, you guys have been really good listeners, so here's what I'm gonna say. If you will gather all your things,
Even our backpack?
like pack it up. You don't have to take it outside, but we can maximize our time outside if you will have everything ready to go and you can come in and grab it.